Students, in your revision of the chemistry chapter Matter in Our Surroundings, we have discussed about the various physical nature of matter in our last discussion, where let us little bit quickly repeat that part. Matter is made up of particles. Second point was particles of matter are too small to be imagined. Third is the particles of some matter are in constant motion. Fourth point is the particles of matter attract each other. And the fifth is the particles of matter have empty space between them. All these 5 points I have discussed in details in the last discussion. So today we are proceeding further, and so we are coming into the next part of our discussion, that is classification of matter. Matter, whatever you see around you, is found in different states and different forms. The different forms of matter you have learned from class 6 onward are solid, liquid and gases. Your body itself contains matter in all its 3 states. For example, your bones and teeth are in solid form. The blood in your body is in liquid form, and the air that you breathe in and out, surely it is in the gaseous form. Besides this, in plenty of water is present in your body. It is estimated that about 70% of our body weight is due to water present in our body. So you can easily understand that our body is also exhibiting all the 3 states of matter. However, all the substances do not exist in all these 3 states. For example, wood or stone, these do not exist in the solid, they only exist in the solid state only, whereas camphor, ammonium chloride, naphthalene, etc., they exist only in the solid and the gaseous states. But most of the substances may exist in all the 3 states under different conditions that we provide, like water, sulfur, etc. Now, let us come into the solid state of matter. In solid states, the intermolecular force being large, the particles of matter come very close, and these are very strongly held together. The intermolecular space becomes very small, and so the molecules are not free to move from one place to another within the solid. However, they can freely vibrate about their mean position of rest. Okay, now let us discuss one by one the general properties of solid. Solid, first of all, is having a definite shape and a definite volume. The particles in a solid cannot move away from or come closer to each other. Hence, a solid can retain its shape. For the same reason, the volume of a solid is fixed also. Example, the book that you are having is solid. It has definite shape and volume. The rubber band that you wear sometime in your wrist is solid. When stretched, its shape changes. But when the stretching force is withdrawn, its shape returns into the original form. Thirdly, salt and sugar, they are also solid. Every single crystals of salt or sugar possess a definite shape. The table you see has a fixed shape and it occupies a definite space. Another reason for the definite shape of a solid we can explain in this way, that you already know that particles of some matter are constantly moving. A moving particle possesses kinetic energy. Since the movement of particle is in a solid is restricted, these particles can only vibrate about their mean position of rest. Hence, the kinetic energy of the particles in a solid is much less. For this reason, we can say a solid is having a definite and a fixed shape. So, students, I think you understood why we say that a solid is having a definite shape and size. Now, the next parameter on which we'll discuss about solid is the word density. Density, you understand very well. It is not a new term for you. In case of solid, the density of a solid is very high. The mass per unit volume of a substance is called its density. That is, density is equal to mass by volume. We measure this in terms of cubic meter or in liter also. Due to strong intermolecular force, the particles of a solid are very closely packed together into a small space or volume. That is why the density of a solid is high. Understood? Now comes the melting point and the boiling point. The melting and the boiling point of a solid are usually high. A solid remains a solid because its melting and boiling points are higher than the room temperature. That's why we see them in the solid form. Next comes compressibility. Solids are incompressible. That is, the volume of a solid cannot be increased or decreased by reducing or increasing the pressure upon it. You know very well, students, that the intermolecular space in solid is so small that it cannot be reduced any further, it cannot be compressed anymore. So, the particles cannot be forced to come closer anymore. However, a porous solid like a loaf, a piece of bread, or a sponge, they are all exception to what we said just now. It has air space within which makes it easily compressible. The air within such a solid is expelled due to compression. So, this is about compressibility of solid. Next comes the parameter flow. Do solid flow? No, a solid cannot flow. The particles of a solid are so rigidly held that they are not free to slip over one another. And so, it is not possible for any solid substance to flow from one end to another end in any direction. It is not possible. Next parameter over which we will discuss the properties of solid is expansion or contraction. Solids expand or contract very little on being heated or cooled. Yes, due to supply of temperature, due to addition or subtraction of temperature, a minute change in terms of expansion or contraction may be observed in the case of solid. The action of heat generally increases the energy of the particles of a solid. So, as these particles becomes more energized, they vibrate about their mean position of rest more frequently. But they do not become so energetic as to escape from their fixed positions. As a result, the extent of expansion in a solid is very small, is very negligible. And the opposite thing happens in the case of cooling. Due to cooling, the particles of a solid lose energy and vibrate weakly. But as the particles do not leave their fixed positions, they do not come closer. This explains why solid contract, but very little, very much negligible contraction takes place due to cooling. Now, the next parameter which we will discuss is the word sublimation. Yes, sublimation is a very strange phenomenon in the change of state of matter. So far as change of state of matter is concerned, sublimation is really a strange phenomenon, we can say. There are some solids which on heating vaporize without melting, and so on cooling the vapors changes directly back into the solids without going to the liquid state. Such a change in the state of a solid is called sublimation. Let us say the definition once more then. The process by which a solid changes directly into its vapor without passing through the liquid state, and the vapor changes directly back into the solid in its original form, is known as sublimation. Okay? Now, the solid which is obtained as a result of this sublimation, that solid is called the sublimate. Example, many examples we can say. Examples of substances which undergo this sublimation, this process of sublimations, are iodine, ammonium chloride, camphor, naphthalene, dry ice, that is solid carbon dioxide, etc. Dear students, I will discuss about this dry ice in this latter part of this very discussion. Maybe in the next part of our discussion we'll say a few words about this dry ice also. Now let us perform one activity regarding this sublimation. Take some ammonium chloride in a porcelain dish and cover it with an inverted conical funnel. Let us take a test tube in the inverted form on the is inverted on the stem of the funnel. The basin is now heated on a sand bath. Ammonium chloride sublimes off as vapors and gets deposited on the cooler part of the test tube. This experiment may be repeated with iodine, camphor and naphthalene also. This method is usually employed to separate a sublimable solid from an unsublimable solid also. So, take it granted that this part will again be repeated, will be explained when the separation of substance will be discussed. Next is diffusion. Diffusion we will discuss as the next parameter of properties of solid. As you know, diffusion is a process by which particles of a substance may enter spontaneously into another substance. You know that movement of particles in a solid is restricted. Hence, a solid does not have the property of diffusion into other solids. Diffusion is rather really impossible or rather difficult in the case of solid matter. However, a few cases may be cited where diffusion of one solid into another also takes place. If two blocks of copper and zinc metals are tied firmly together and left undisturbed for a few years, it will be found that the blocks have bounded together. Why this happens? This is because the particles of each metal have some penetration into the another. This is also observed in the soil profile. When we observe soil profile in the form of A horizon, B horizon, C horizon, you will see one thing, that some components of A horizon very slowly but steadily is diffusing into the next layer, that is the B horizon. But yes, it takes lots of years, it takes too much amount of time, but it happens. Diffusion do takes place in this kind of solid substance also. Yes, soil can be porous, soil can be little bit hard in texture, depending upon the type of soil, depending upon the continent where it is present, the porousness of the soil may differ or will rather differ from one place to another, and according to that, the diffusion, the rate of diffusion of components of soil from one layer to another layer will also differ. So, we have cited, we have said some examples, some rare examples where this diffusion also takes place in the case of solid. So, students, these were all about the various properties which a solid matter is having. And based on these parameters which we said now, that is first of all shape and volume, second one we said density, third one we said melting point and boiling point, fourth one we said compressibility, fifth parameter we said flow, sixth we said about expansion or contraction, seventh we said about sublimation, and finally the eighth point we said about diffusion. We discussed a lot. Over these parameters only, one by one, we'll discuss about liquid also and solid also, and that will make clear to you all what are the differences between solid, liquid and gas based on these parameters. These differences will also once more repeat at the end of this very chapter also. But while discussing about the properties based on these parameters of solid, liquid and gas, I think the difference will become clear to you all. So let us finish up today here. In the next discussion, we will continue our explanation. Till then, goodbye.